Hey guys, Eric Bischoff here to talk to you about my friends over at SaveWithConrad.com. Are you looking to get out of debt? Conrad and his team can make that happen faster than me firing the honky tonk man. Wow. And you know that controversy creates cash, right? But you know what doesn't create cash? Credit card debt. Save with Conrad can help you consolidate high-interest credit cards and all of your other debt into one low monthly payment. They can even help you get the cash you need for home improvements or anything else. They've helped 83 Weeks listeners save $500, $600, $700, even $800 a month. Seriously, your papers are going to go down faster than Nitro ratings in 2000. Ouch! And how about this? No house payments for 2 months. That's right, no house payments for 2 months. And unlike the dirt sheets, man, the reviews do not lie. With over 1,000 5-star reviews, find out for yourself how much Conrad and his team can save you by checking out SaveWithConrad.com today. You'll be grateful you did.
NMLS number 65084, equal housing lender. Woo!
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson, and you're listening to What Happened When? With the voice of your childhood, Tony Schiavone. Tony, what's going on, man?
What's going on, Conrad? What's going on, everyone?
Man, I'm so excited to be with you. Here we are, episode 2 of the new era of What Happened When. I can't believe this is real, but we're watching a Monday Night Raw from 1997. Now, along the way, through all these several years together now, Tony, we've watched a handful of really cool pieces of business with Brian Pillman and Stone Cold Steve Austin. A couple of weeks back, we watched that very special episode of Superstars where Stone Cold broke the ankle of Brian Pillman.
Right.
Of course, in real life, Brian's ankle had not healed properly. They were going to have to re-break it and do a whole new procedure. So we had to have a storyline reason to get him off of TV. Fast forward, and we would then see Stone Cold break into Brian Pillman's home. And Pillman would pull a gun on Monday Night Raw. It was a very controversial moment, to say the least. But now we're going to fast forward into April of 1997. We're on the heels of WrestleMania 13. We've done maybe the most classic double turn of all time. Stone Cold Steve Austin is now a good guy, and Bret the Hitman Hart is a bad guy. He's sort of anti-American. And we have a new world champ for only the second time and really the most substantial run, because the first one was just a hiccup. The Undertaker is sitting atop the World Wrestling Federation. We're one night removed from the first pay-per-view after WrestleMania 13. It was an in-your-house event back when those events were just 2 hours long. In-your-house Revenge of the Taker. And now we're in the fallout the very next night on Monday Night Raw. That's what we'll be watching. So fire your Peacock up. We're going back to April 21st, 1997, because it's a continuation of what we have seen so far. I guess chapter 1, chapter 2, and now here's chapter 3, if you will, of Brian Pillman and Stone Cold Steve Austin. I love watching all things 1997. I've said that on our podcast for many, many years now, Tony. If you had to zero in on your favorite year of wrestling as a fan, so not like when you're working in the business, So we're going to be pre-83, I suppose.
Yeah.
Do you have like a favorite year where you're like, man, that was it for me. I loved it when blank.
It would have to be either 77 or 78. I remember we did a lot of crazy things as a fan. I remember one time, it was 1978. We went to the Charlotte race at Charlotte Motor Speedway, the afternoon race, and then we stopped in Greensboro to see wrestling that night. This was 1978, and it was when Ric Flair and Greg Valentine became World Tag Team Champions, beating the Andersons. And also that year they had the tournament for the NWA World Tag Team belts because they stripped Flair and Valentine of the belts. And they had a one-night tournament in Greensboro and sold out the Greensboro Coliseum. So that would be my favorite era. I was in college. I couldn't afford to do much, but whatever money I had left over, we went to wrestling. So that was my favorite time. So we're talking 20 years before this, basically.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, listen, time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah.
And Tony, I don't even know that you know this, but do you know that right now the ballots are out for the Wrestling Observer Hall of Fame?
I did not know that. I know that at one time, and this was a couple of years ago, maybe 2 years ago, Dave Meltzer had sent me a ballot. And I just completely forgot to send it in. So I don't think he sent me one since then. So, well, good. I hope, who's on it? I hope we get some really good guys inducted into the Hall of Fame.
Well, let me ask you, because there's several different categories, if you will.
Okay.
There's the historical performers era.
Okay.
There's the modern performers in the U.S. and Canada.
Okay.
There's wrestling in Japan.
All right.
There's wrestling in Mexico.
Okay.
There's wrestling in Europe, Australia, New Zealand, Pacific Islands, and Africa. And then there's a non-wrestler category. I'm probably betraying some confidences, but I have my ballot. I'd love to rattle off one of these sections to you. Is there one that sticks out you'd like to hear who the candidates are?
Yeah, the modern wrestler.
Okay, didn't expect that. Okay, here it is. The modern performers in the U.S. and Canada. Mark and Jay Briscoe, the Young Bucks, Edge, Bill Goldberg,
Okay.
Matt and Jeff Hardy,
All right.
Becky Lynch, John Moxley, Kevin Nash and Scott Hall,
Okay.
Paul Orndorff,
Wow.
Randy Orton,
Wow.
Seth Rollins, CM Punk, Roman Reigns, Trish Stratus, Rick, and Scott Steiner.
Wow. How many can you vote for?
So in that particular category, you can vote for a maximum of 5.
Okay.
Just for shits and giggles.
Mm-hmm.
I want to read you the non-wrestler category.
Yeah. Okay.
Grand Wizard,
Good.
Stanley Weston,
Okay.
Roy Welch, Ted Turner,
Wow.
Mike Tenay,
There you go.
Senshiro Takagi, screwed that up, sorry, George Scott,
Wow.
Morris Siegel, Reggie Parks, Rossi Agawa, James Melby,
Mm-hmm.
Larry Madison,
Yep.
Jim Johnston, Joe Higuchi, forgive me if I'm wrong on that one,
Okay.
Bobby Davis,
Okay.
Bob Caudle,
Yay.
Bobby Bruns, Dave Brown,
Mm-hmm.
Tony Schiavone.
Oh, God.
Tony Schiavone is on the Wrestling Observer Hall of Fame ballot. Here's a little spoiler.
Yep.
You know who I voted for?
Bob Caudle, I hope.
He deserves it. I mean,
Yep.
there's no doubt about it. No, of course, I'm kidding. You get to pick 6 maximum. So I managed to squeeze one in there for Reggie Parks. And of course, I squeezed one in there for Dave Brown. Not really, but Bob Caudle for sure.
Yes.
And then, my goodness,
Yeah.
Tony Schiavone made the list. I was really happy to see Dave Brown on the list, though, because we both saw Dave Brown do some commentary for a Memphis street fight this past Saturday night in Collision. Of course, Jeff Jarrett and his Tennessee Volunteers toted an ass whooping around 2:30 on CBS. But then that evening, man, with a little help from all of his friends, he managed to steal a victory from Eddie Kingston. And maybe one of my favorite moments in the match is when, maybe it was Kevin Kelly, I'm not sure, someone teed up Dave Brown about who the king of Memphis was.
Yeah, right.
And when they rattled off the list, right before he got to say the last name, Nigel McGuinness cut him off. And Jeff Jarrett.
That was good.
Just totally stealing his thunder for Jerry Lawler. I laughed out loud watching the program. Such a great moment. Really cool to see Dave Brown back on TV.
Yeah, Dave's a good man. And he and I were in the back. We were all in the back in the announcer's room talking, and he got a real earful of how much I hate the Florida Gators. And he and Alex Marvez and I were going back and forth and back and forth. And then someone put the Alabama-Tennessee game on. And Dave said, "Well, I'm a Memphis guy, so I don't give a 2 cents about the Tennessee Volunteers." Yeah.
Well, I am really enjoying my victory lap over the one and only Jeff Jarrett. We made a big bet, Tony. I don't know if you heard about this, but the loser had to be dressed by the winner and attend next year's game. So the third Saturday in October next year, Jeff Jarrett will be dressed like a goof, head to toe in Crimson Tide. And we've enlisted the help of Efren to cover him in body paint. And we're going to have Coach Rosie and a whole handful of other folks who support us here on the WHW Monday Patreon and adfreeshows.com. And he is going to be representing. We're going to get him a great seat, make sure he's on camera. I'm going to call in some favors. There's usually a CBS broadcast. I'm happen to be pals with Brad Nessler, so I'm going to give him a heads up and make sure the camera crew gets a good shot of Double J in full trader gear right on CBS.
You know, why would Jeff Jarrett do something like that? Why would he even make a bet when he knows they're playing in Alabama?
Well, because last season we played in Knoxville and they stole a victory. And so he was just full of piss and vinegar.
Uh-huh.
You have to admit, like his son Cody, who turns 17, as folks are listening to this. So by all means, go out of your way to wish Cody Angle a happy birthday today. Our young man is 17 years old today.
Yeah.
And I think he was so excited that last year, for the first time in Cody's life, the Tennessee Volunteers beat Alabama. It had never happened before. No one had ever made a post on Facebook about Tennessee beating Alabama because it wasn't a thing. No one had ever sent a tweet about it. No one had probably ever even sent a text message about it. No one had too much to drink after the game and called an Uber. That wasn't even a thing. There were no Snapchats or none of that. Couldn't brag about it on IG.
Yeah.
No TikTok videos. None of that existed the last time Tennessee beat Alabama. And I think, well, I know Jeff was just so confident that even though they were an 8.5 point underdog, he was like, no problem.
Right.
We got it figured out. We got their number. So next year is going to be dressed up like a goof in Knoxville.
Well, then you ought to dress up Karen as well, because she is a goof from the word go.
Well, she's Mrs. Goof. Watch your damn mouth. Hey, are you in the loop on their skunk situation?
No.
You know about this?
No.
So they have had a series of skunk attacks going back before the summer there at the Jeff Jarrett Manor or mansion. I mean, he lives on like an island on a lake there, just north of Nashville and Hendersonville. And every day for months, there was a skunk incident. And on at least a dozen occasions, the skunk would spray the dogs.
Wow. That's rough.
Mrs. Jarrett would have to get in the shower with the dogs and bathe them as thoroughly as she could. But as you know, no way getting around it. The skunk actually, it's almost like Home Alone for skunks, sprayed the air conditioning unit. So the entire house just filled with skunk smells. So they've tried to do everything they could to figure out where this skunk is hiding out. They bought new cameras, put them all around the property in really strategic locations. Like normally, when you have a camera security system on your house like we do here, you're trying to look for the entry points where someone might try to come in. They're just shooting like random trees, trying to figure out where is he hiding. Well, they finally found it, and he thought, hey, I'll smoke him out. Almost like this was an episode of Caddyshack. So they got one of those fire starter logs, tucked it down in there, and thought, well, there's no chance he'll survive. Well, once the fire log burned out, the starter log burned out, here comes the skunk. They got it all on camera. No problem. So then they go and they start setting traps. The skunk would figure out how to move the trap and steal the food. I mean, this has just been a real dilemma. They finally caught it. They thought they were good. And now there's another and another. And the latest and greatest is what's been described to me as an Andre the Giant level skunk. Maybe a 40, 50 pound skunk. This is what they're dealing with at their house. I'm not making any of this up.
I'm sure you're not. This is karma.
It is.
Yeah, this is Karen Jarrett karma. Because she's so mean.
Oh, so mean.
Oh, it gives me shit every Wednesday and every Saturday. Oh, man.
I would much rather have Jeff upset with me than Karen. So anytime I've veered off into that lane, I just get back in my hidey hole until it's just Jeff again. Because I can manage that a little bit. But with Karen, whew.
I made a mistake on TV. I think it may have been on Rampage to call her an evil bitch.
Oh, that's not good. Shouldn't have done that.
Ooh, no.
That was a mistake.
Yeah. Well, good. Well, I've got a little fodder here.
Oh yeah, you got to have all skunk jokes. Yeah, come with those.
I'm gonna go into. I'm gonna say, "Do you smell skunk?" And just keep on walking.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what I'm really looking forward to most of all is being able to dress Jeff Jarrett next year for this football game. And I've already enlisted the help of Efren. He's already started buying body paint, even though it's 51 weeks away.
Yeah,
he's ready for it.
Good.
But I think ahead of that, we need to make sure that Jeff knows about Manscaped. Attention all sports enthusiasts and ball game aficionados. It's that magical time of the year when football's in full swing, basketball is back, and the baseball playoffs have us on the edge of our seats. But speaking of ball games, it's time to talk about the champion of the grooming game. That's right, Manscaped has just launched, check this out, the Performance Package 5.0 Ultra.
Dun, 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 dun.
It's like having a sixth man on your team, ensuring you stay smooth, no matter what sport you're into. So don't strike out on this offer. Head over to manscaped.com and use the code WHW to get 20% off and free shipping. Trust us, with the Performance Package 5.0 Ultra, you'll be the real MVP, both on and off the field. So when it comes to sports, it's important to know ball. And Manscaped, well, they sure know balls. So at the peak of ball season, we're introducing the brand new Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra, which is going to help take your grooming game to a whole new level. Check this out. The Lawnmower 5.0 uses two enhanced skin-safe blade heads.
Right.
First, a head with an upgraded trimmer, so you get the grass and playing condition, and then a dual foil blade for that top-notch smoothness. Now, we all know that football is a game of inches, but Manscaped knows that grooming is a game of millimeters. With advanced don't you pipe down. With advanced grooming tools like the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra, you can tackle any hairy situation and come out looking like an MVP. Also inside this bundle made for balls features a new Weed Whacker 2.0, the ear and nose hair trimmer. How about the Crop Preserver Ball Deodorant, the Crop Soother Toner, and 2 free gifts. With all that and a bag of ballpark chips, there's no reason not to put your game face on and give it a go. The playoffs are no joke, and neither is this. Make the right call with Manscaped. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code WHW at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com. Be sure to use the code WHW. We got balls and beard trimmers but mostly balls.
Hey, I want to say something about the new 5.0.
Yeah.
It's legit, buddy.
Oh, did you try it already?
Oh, yeah. You talk about getting your balls smooth. Unbelievable.
Man, can we just get you one time, just post a quick pic up on the WHW Monday Patreon of how smooth you are, like a before and after?
Yeah, let's do that. We'll do a before with my penis, and then the after we'll have like a porn star's penis like that and say, man, see what it's done for me?
You remember that black dude who went viral sitting on the edge of the bed during the pandemic?
Yeah.
That's what we should do. Post your before and post that after. That'll really move it. I love when I said grooming is a game of millimeters. I could hear you go, like you're getting ready. I'm like, hang on, let me finish this coffee before we got millimeter jokes. I know where you're going.
Yeah, no, the dual foil blade head is really that's a game changer right there.
Well, all right then. You've heard it from Tony Schiavone. I have follow-up questions, but I'll keep them to myself. Let's fire up Peacock. Season 5, episode 16. That's season 5, episode 16. April 21st, 1997 is what we're watching. It's Monday Night Raw from season 5, episode 16. Tony, I'm locked, cocked, and ready to rock. Do you have a special countdown for us today?
I have one from our buddy DJ Rand. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
DJ, turn up!
How many of Big Show's fingers you think you could take up the butt? Tony Reed's rap.
Trying to get peace. Chicken always into some dumb shit. Should have paid your light bill. You bought an outfit. Should have paid your light bill. You bought an outfit.
The World Wrestling Federation, for over 50 years, the revolutionary force in sports entertainment.
Little recap Jones here.
You're talking about the Taker's revenge. Oh, you can smell it. And here you smell of Paul Bear's burning flesh. The flames of hell have just singed Paul Bear.
I love this open, Tony. Let's watch it.
It's tremendous.
David Sahadi did this. Can we just agree, as much as you and I both love the Nitro Open, this was a better Open?
Of course it was. Yeah.
I mean, that was fantastic, man.
Yeah, it really set the stage for the Attitude Era. Not only that, this Binghamton, New York arena was the first arena that I worked when I went to work for the WWE back in '89.
It doesn't look like a huge building, but man, they're packed in there.
Yeah, we worked Superstars at Binghamton and Challenge and Hershey, Pennsylvania, I remember, at the Hershey Arena, which I think is called something else now.
Oh, listen to this, man.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Raw is War! The Brigham County Arena in Binghamton, New York is sold out, and we are live!
Man, do you hear Vince just really getting into that? I love when Vince would go full announcer. Stone Cold. Like when he used to do those WrestleMania opens.
Yeah.
It was so fun. Oh, look at there.
One-on-one with Bret the Hitman Hart in a street fight tonight. Well, that's going to be the challenge. Vince McMahon's going to talk to the toughest SOB in the WWE. Stone Cold Steve Austin. And how about it, ladies and gentlemen? On May 11 in Richmond, Virginia, but for most of you on pay-per-view, Stone Cold Steve Austin will wrestle for the World Wrestling Federation Championship. The first thing I want you to do is shut your stinking hole. Oh. We ain't talking about Richmond or wherever the hell the pay-per-view is. Tonight we're talking about Bret the Hitman Hart. Last night, the whole world saw me whip his ass right in the middle of the ring with this world famous sharpshooter. You ain't gotta like it, but it's damn well what happened. The only reason I ain't finished with Bret is because the Bulldog and Owen came out there and saved his little carcass. So all I want tonight out of you and the WWF is for Bret Hart to bring his ass out here right now. Oh, he'll come, all right. Don't worry. Don't worry about putting on your little black and pink tights because they look like crap anyway. I don't want to wrestle you, Bret. I don't want to wrestle you. It ain't over because I told you it never would be over as long as I'm breathing air. So you come right out here right now in a street fight and I'll beat your ass back to Canada and you got 1 minute. You got 1 minute to get out here. He don't have to come out here now, does he, Ross? Well, he does if he wants to accept the challenge. Austin wants Bret out here in a street fight. Austin wants to meet Bret Hart right here tonight live on Raw is War in a street fight. Well, I got news for you. Bret the Hitman Hart is not afraid of Stone Cold Steve Austin. He may not be dressed. He may not be ready. The show's just gone on the air, Ross. Certainly Austin, the biggest opportunity of his life on Sunday, May the 11th in Richmond, Virginia. But that's not what's on Stone Cold's mind. Look at this. They got a timer up there.
So, Tony, what are you thinking of this? I mean, obviously, you guys are knee deep in the NWO, and Austin has not yet won the world title. He's been an Intercontinental Champion, or he's not even been an Intercontinental Champion at this point. He's still working his way up the ladder, so to speak. But Bret, no doubt about it, one of the top guys. But, man, he's over with these fans, and this is before, he's really turned the volume all the way up with this character and chugging the beers and the middle fingers and all of that. But you can tell this dude has it, whatever it is, right?
Yeah, he's got it. There's no question. And okay, he's talking again here.
What?
Apparently, Bret's not going to come out.
Hey, Stone Cold Steve.
Oh, here we go.
American scum. I accept any match with you because you know what? You are nothing but a dirty, stinking, low-down hyena. And I learned one thing, that my family is too good for the American public. The American wrestling fans, you know what? You're all just a pack of wild hyenas, just like Stone Cold Steve Austin. Because all you care about is blood. You got no ethics. You got no morals. You got no family values. You don't care about family. Now, Stone Cold Steve Austin, last night, whimpering and crawling around the ring. I almost ripped your leg right off the hinges. And all you people sitting there, you loved it. You love the violence. You love the blood and guts. Stone Cold Steve Austin, I accept. You know what really gets me is how the American fans can justify the ilk like you and people like Shawn Michaels. Just tells you right there that the World Wrestling Federation and the American wrestling fans are going straight down the toilet. How is it that you somehow get a World Wrestling Federation Championship title match with The Undertaker? Is beyond my scope. You know what? I don't care if you got a title shot with The Undertaker. After I'm through with you tonight, you'll be going straight to hell.
Oh! So,
If I'm going straight to hell, you're damn sure coming with me.
oh, Austin's going after Bret. Huh? Well, ladies and gentlemen, what a night it's going to be. Stone Cold Steve Austin is going after Bret Hart. We'll try to keep our cameras on this situation.
So listen, this became a formula for Monday Night Raw. We would start with an in-ring promo, and eventually, you know, as their business would evolve, they would have to, of course, shuffle these characters in and out. Oh man, check that out. So on the left, Ahmad Johnson. On the right, that was Rikishi wrestling as the Sultan, with the Iron Sheik and Bob Backlund in his corner. Ken Shamrock is now on the loose here as a singles performer. This is real. Vader is still in prison or a Kuwaiti jail, having attacked a television announcer. So they're giving updates there. And you see that Hunter Hearst Helmsley, this is before DX was really a thing, is going to be taking on The Undertaker for the world title. So what do you think about this 3-man booth here? Vince McMahon, Jerry Lawler, and Jim Ross. This wouldn't last forever. Later this year, they would sort of ease Mr. McMahon out of that spot. But how about that for a 3-man booth?
Why did Vince put himself in there? Did he not have confidence in the 2-man team?
Vince had always been the announcer, and he actually brought in JR and added him to the mix. But for a long time, it was Lawler and Vince. And of course, I think everybody realized, hey, these guys are magic together. Yeah. So they went to a commercial break. They come back and we see the Hitman pacing. And in the ring, check this out, man. The presentation for the Sultan. This is going to go on to be Rikishi. We're trying a different gimmick here, of course. There's a young Mike Chioda in the background. But he has not one but 2 managers, the Iron Sheik and Bob Backlund. And there you see our ring announcer, Mr. Howard Finkel. Sadly, both Howard and the Iron Sheik no longer with us. And here comes Ahmad Johnson, one of the guys who once upon a time people thought was going to be the next big thing. Let's listen to this reaction. 97 is where it's all going to come off the rails for Ahmed. Once upon a time, though, in 95 and certainly in 96, a lot of people believed, man, Vince is enamored with this guy. He's going to be the next big thing. He has the look, certainly a big, jacked up, intimidating dude. And I don't know, he felt real. He felt authentic and certainly had the type of build that Vince was looking for. But he developed a bit of a reputation for hurting guys. And as the story goes, he hurt the wrong guy when he broke the ribs. Or maybe it wasn't just a rib. It was a kidney injury. He kicked Ron Simmons so hard that Ron Simmons was legitimately hurt and on the shelf for months. And as the story goes, Ron told everyone in his circle who would listen, when I come back, I'm going to fuck Ahmed Johnson up. And he came back that day and was not here to mess around, as the legend goes. And what do you know? It was a house show. And the booking committee decided, oh, we'll just put Ahmed in there with Farouk. Farouk's back. So Farouk got in there and immediately put Ahmed on the injured reserve. Of all the people you could piss off in wrestling, Ming might be number 1A that you would not want to do that with. You got to think 1B is Ron Simmons.
Number 2 is Rick Steiner.
Yep.
So yeah, those are legit badasses. Wow.
That kick right there, boys and girls, was what we would call real.
Yes, it was. It looked good, but it was real. And Rikishi or whatever.
The Sultan,
as you can see, is, he's, yeah. And of course, Ahmed came to work for us for a short period of time.
But man, he was not the same. He did not show up looking like this. The wheels came right off. And it's a shame, man, because I think a lot of people believed this guy had some real upward mobility. Like once upon a time, Shawn Michaels got the biggest reaction and Ahmad Johnson was right underneath that. And then, well, maybe not so much.
I was going to talk again about Vince in the scheme of things. And I, of course, I didn't keep up with him now. In the scheme of things, how far away is the Mr. McMahon era? Because obviously it's not there now because he's a member of the broadcast team. He's doing the interviews. Stone Cold hit him with told him to shut the hell up or whatever.
He's about 6.5 months away from screwing Bret Hart. So he's about 7 months away from doing that Bret screwed Bret promo.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when things would start to change. But later this September, I believe it's September. Yeah, it's September, is where we would see Stone Cold give Vince McMahon the Stone Cold Stunner. So that's about 5 months away. So we start to see, I guess it's worth mentioning that less than 30 days prior to this is when Bret sort of blew up at Vince and pushed him down and cursed at him live on Raw. Where he said something like, frustrated isn't the goddamn word for it, and shoved him down. So you started to see a little bit of an acknowledgement that Vince was the boss, but then we had the whole, in October of this year, so 6 months after this, we will no longer insult your intelligence of good guys versus bad guys. So you started to see these little clues of the direction in which they were headed. But, it's probably, I would say, November is when we really start to understand the Mr. McMahon character. But it's January when he has the big shoving match with Austin and Mike Tyson take place. You ruined it, damn it. So all of the, Stone Cold versus Mr. McMahon stuff really went hot and heavy in January of 98.
So we need to really go back and look at that. I'd like to see all that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I just think it's very interesting that, and I know, I don't know if Bruce has talked about it on his podcast or not, about who came up with the Mr. McMahon character, who convinced Vince that after all these years of, being the boss and being the announcer and just being behind the scenes, that he will become an in-ring character.
You know what we might need to do is for one of these episodes here of What Happened When, I think maybe what we do is we go back in time. Oh, there's the Nation of Domination. So there you see, that's Crush who's joined, flanking the quote unquote white boys on the outside. That's PG-13.
Yeah.
Who we both know from USWA and in Memphis. I think D'Lo Brown is suited and booted behind him.
Okay.
Anyway, I would really like to show you the seeds of heel Vince, because long before the Mr. McMahon character showed up here on WWF TV, he was on Memphis TV. Oh, wow. Ahmed has found a 2x4 stored underneath the ring. 2x4s, of course, were used at WrestleMania 13 when he teamed with the Road Warriors against the Nation of Domination. And that's over. You can't hit your opponent, with a 2x4. If Hacksaw can't do it, Ahmed can't either. And of all the people you would not want to trust with a 2x4, I would think Ahmed's on the list.
I was going to say, I would rather have Hacksaw hit me with one than Ahmed.
Yes.
Let's see if he works it.
Notice Rikishi is being very careful. You're going to hit my tricep and nothing else. Thank you.
Yeah.
There's referee Jack Doan, one of the Hebners.
Oh, look at Farouk.
Everybody retreats a little bit here.
Farouk in a sling.
Oh, here they come now. I like that Ahmed Johnson and Booker T were early on the Breathe Right strip game. So that's Earl. That was Earl in the ring in the stripes. Dave out here in the suit.
Jack Lanza, rest in peace.
One of the all-time greats.
Mm-hmm.
Stone Cold pacing in the back.
Back and forth. Stone Cold, very impatient. He's like a caged animal. He is ready for action tonight. Plus, still to come.
So they're getting ready to take a commercial. We will too here, Tony. We're going to stop it down at 17:25. 22, 23, 24, 25. There it is. We'll take a timeout. And this is a timeout that you should really pay attention to. Cold turkey might be great on sandwiches, but there is a better way to break your bad habits. We're not talking about some weird mind voodoo from your crazy neighbor or maybe Marty Jannetty. We're talking about our sponsor, Fume. You see, they look at the problem in a different way. You know, not everything in a bad habit is wrong. So instead of a drastic, uncomfortable change, why not just remove the bad from your habit? Well, Fume is an innovative, award-nominated device that does just that. Instead of electronics, Fume is completely natural. Instead of vapor, Fume uses flavored air. Instead of harmful chemicals, Fume uses all-natural, delicious flavors. You get it. Instead of bad, Fume is good. It's a habit you're free to enjoy, and it makes replacing your bad habit easy. Your Fume comes with an adjustable airflow dial, and it's designed with movable parts and magnets, all for your fidgeting. That gives your fingers something to do, which is helpful for de-stressing and anxiety while breaking your habit. And I got to tell you, my wife, well, she was very familiar with vapor. She wasn't so sure about this, but man, she was blown away with the taste. The very first time she tried it, she told me it felt very fresh, more flavorful than she thought. She enjoys crisp mint. They've got flavors for everybody, like raspberry lemon or orange vanilla or white cranberry or sparkling grapefruit. How about maple pepper? Something for everybody. You'll also see it's made out of beautiful real wood. It's a cool shape. You're just going to feel cool using it, and it's well weighted in your hand. It's perfectly balanced. It's just extremely fun to fidget with. Here's the deal. Stopping is something we all put off because it's hard. But switching to Fume, well, now that's easy, enjoyable, and even fun. Fume has served over 100,000 customers, and now they have thousands of success stories, and there's no reason that you can't be next. Join Fume in accelerating humanity's breakup with destructive habits by picking up the Journey Pack today. Head to tryfume.com and use the code WHW to save 10% off when you get the Journey Pack today. That's tryfum.com and use the code WHW to save an additional 10% off your order today. That's tryfum.com and use the code WHW. You'll save an extra 10% off today. So, Tony, I am locked and loaded. We see that in your house graphic. I'm at 17 minutes and 25 seconds on season 5, episode 16, April 21st, 1997. That's 17 minutes, 25 seconds. And we'll get going here in 3, 2, 1, play.
Presented by Castro, super clean, all-wheel cleaner.
Dude, I'm so fascinated by this. Like, I hope that those guys realize what great value they're getting 25 years later, 26 years later. They're still getting plugs on the damn network like that. I like the Hart Foundation name on the door, and here's Brett chipping away at it with a chair. Oh, we've got a camera on the inside with all the agents surrounding Brett.
Inside Bret Hart's locker room. Bret Hart there with officials.
Pat Patterson, Dave Hebner, Blackjack, Gorilla.
I'll give him what he wants. I'll give him what he deserves. All right, when I'm ready. Send him up to the ring.
All right, Bret Hart.
Wow.
Wants it out here in the ring, and that's it.
Look at the shuffle, too. Vince is in the middle, JR at his right, Lawler at his left, and on the very end, a fourth commentator, like it's a Friday Night Rampage. It's Ken Shamrock.
How you doing, Vince?
Thanks for joining us. Good big announcement tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, Ken Shamrock will take on the man they call Vader. No holds barred on May 11. Before we talk about that, however, Ken, we'd like to mention, Vader right now, unfortunately, is detained. And the reason that he's detained, well, he's in Kuwait. Why was he in Kuwait to begin with? Well, this was the second annual Kuwaiti Cup Invitational, was it not, JR?
It certainly was. Last year, Ahmad Johnson won the Kuwaiti Cup, and this year it was young Tiger Ali Singh, who we hope to see make his American debut tonight. But Tiger won the 16-man single elimination tournament. We congratulate Tiger Ali Singh.
Yes, indeed. However, Mr. Vader was detained, as we all know. He is not here. Why is he not here? Well, he took exception to this announcer asking him if wrestling was fake. Watch this.
find your remark and your question insulting. It's not my question. It's somebody who. Does that feel fake, huh? Does that feel fake? Does it? Why don't you come down tonight, and before I kick his, I'll kick your ass. Okay. All right? Just tell me. Don't. Hey, we're not here to be insulted. I'm not here to be insulted. Okay. Right.
Yes, and this Wednesday, ladies and gentlemen, we will find out the fate of the man they call Vader, somewhat being held hostage.
Serious situation.
This Wednesday, Vader goes to court in Kuwait, and we'll find out just how he's going to pay for his crime.
Look at this. I did a little bit of artwork. You know, over in Kuwait, if you get locked up, they don't put you on a chain gang where you make little rocks out of big rocks. Look at this. They put you out in the desert. They make you clean up camel manure. And all those Scud missiles are flying around and everything. So I did this little
camel
picture.
Gun.
Yeah. Well, you know what it is. And they put the ball and chain around you. And let me tell you something else. This is not funny either. Look at the way they're selling Vader's action figure now. Look at that, McMahon. Whose idea was that?
Stop it.
He's going to be upset when he gets back.
Joining us now, ladies and gentlemen, the man who will face.
All right. So what do you think? First of all, Ken Shamrock breathing really heavy into the microphone. But man, that's the first time you've probably seen that Vader footage, huh?
Yeah. So he legitimately got detained because of what he did right there.
Yeah. You're not supposed to do that. That was not part of the plan. And you saw the Undertaker cool as the other side of the pillow, not saying or doing shit, not moving at all.
Yeah.
Vader flipped out. He was dressed like my grandpa. He had the Sansa belt, everything on. And man, that shirt, he just looks like he's ready to talk to you about term life insurance or the birds and the bees or, you know, Shoeless Joe Jackson, any three. And instead he went after that Kuwaiti reporter and, he wound up legitimately being stuck over there. They would not let him come home. And, Vince tried to pull every string in the possible to get him there and get him home safely. And, they were really concerned and really nervous. And then you saw Lawler trying to have a little fun with it, drawing the Scud missiles in the background. What in the world? But then actually changing up the action figure to put it behind bars. I have to admit that was pretty funny. I didn't remember that.
It was funny. Lawler, is so talented as an artist, as we know. And so how did they finally release Vader? What obviously happened to get him out? Do you know?
Some trickeration.
Yeah. Wow. Leave it to pro wrestling to come up with trickeration.
Yeah. They were trying to do whatever they could, and eventually they figured something out, and he was out of there very, very quickly. And they're trying to get him ready for Ken Shamrock, because the idea is, of course, Vader has done all of these worked shoots over in Japan, and everybody knows he wore those MMA style gloves, and he was, you know, developing a reputation as a bit of a bully, even back to his WCW days. So who better to put the world's most dangerous man against than a guy who is willing to dole out some punishment and take a little bit too in Vader. So they're going to set that match up on pay-per-view, and here comes Stone Cold.
Here comes Stone Cold Steve Austin. It's on. The street fight is on. Austin, just last night, ladies and gentlemen, one-on-one with Bret the Hitman Hart. And Austin had problems after Bret ripped that knee brace right off his knee. He certainly did. Bret Hart taking the knee brace off Stone Cold's left knee, and then Bret using the steel chair right on the knee joint. Yeah. Steve Austin writhing in pain.
That's right. You know what? He can say what he wants to, but I heard Steve Austin saying, I quit.
Where there?
Right there. He was screaming, he quit.
Stone Cold Steve Austin in the ring pacing, awaiting.
So how fun is this, man? You want to talk about the way television had changed at this point? I mean, we've had, I think, one match on the show, which was Ahmad Johnson and the Sultan.
Right.
And now we've got Stone Cold out here for now the second time.
And is he going to talk here, or are they going to do the match here? Because
we're going to see see a bit of a story unfold, if you will.
Okay. This Vader story is very interesting. You know, Leon had a tendency to do, I don't want to say stupid things, but things that shouldn't be done.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why whenever he would drop down to the floor, we were at ringside, I was fearful for my life because he would get into this mindset to where he was like nuts, right? Like anything could happen. So what's
So you
Stone
saw
Cold
during the
doing here?
break, Stone Cold jumped up on the table, threatening Vince McMahon. We come back from commercial and he's just resting his head on the turnbuckle. He's frustrated. It's almost like he's not leaving this ring until he gets his pound of flesh.
Old Steve Austin, perspiring, Stone Cold, can't wait to get this over. Stone Cold wants it done one way or another, and he wants it done tonight. Uh-oh, it's street fight time. It won't be for the weak at heart. Where is he? Don't worry, McMahon, he'll be here. Is he coming or not? Here he comes!
Brett's in jeans with his leather jacket on. Stone Cold in a t-shirt, boots, and jeans.
This is really good TV.
Tony Chimmel sliding the jacket away.
Yeah, notice Tony there.
Watch.
Look out, Papa! Let the Bulldog! Let Bulldog it out!
So the Bulldog, the British Bulldog, and Owen Hart have jumped the rail from behind the announce position, and they're in the ring, 3-on-1, an absolute beatdown. Hey, in fairness, Stone Cold said he wanted a street fight. Well, this is what they look like. It's rarely a fair fight. It's rarely 1-on-1. So you see Owen in a full windsuit there. The wind didn't stand a chance against him that day. And you see British Bulldog with his jeans tucked into his combat boots. That's a cool look for Davey.
This is good, man. Again, this is great TV. Absolutely great TV. And this is all making, obviously, Stone Cold a big baby face.
And look who it is. Shawn Michaels with a chair.
Uh-huh. Oh, Lord of mercy.
So Stone Cold makes the unlikely save, or Shawn Michaels makes the unlikely save for Steve Austin. Of course, Shawn has been on the shelf because he lost his smile back in February, did commentary at WrestleMania 13. A lot of people believe it was supposed to be Brett versus Shawn there. Shawn was unable to perform. So now Brett finds himself alone in the ring with Stone Cold Steve Austin, Shawn having chased off both Owen and the Bulldog. This is good stuff, man. I know you weren't watching Monday Night Raw in this era, but boy, I really enjoyed it.
Well, listen, it's better TV than what we were doing, I think.
Around this same time, you guys had Ultimo Dragon wrestling Bobby Eaton. You also had Glacier and Ciclope, Dean Malenko and Yuji Nagata, Ming and Chris Jericho. That's what was happening on Nitro. On Nitro as well, this is worth mentioning, I think, is where we would see the debut of J.J. Dillon. He would return to Turner Programming for the first time since he left for the WWF. So this is when we would introduce J.J. as an on-screen character, the WCW commissioner. That all happened here on April 21st, 1997.
I remember when JJ came back to us and he had called me trying to get in, and I went to Eric Bischoff with a great recommendation, because I always liked JJ because of what he could do in the office. And And that goes back to the old Crockett times. And I remember Eric Bischoff said, well, you certainly are putting him over very, very hard. It's almost as if you and he have some sort of deal going on. I said, no, Eric, legit. He's a good guy. And he'll help out in the office. I remember JJ and I basically, went to the WWE at the same time. I left early, but he hung around. And he was very distraught. And I think Vince was treating him unkindly, if that's correct. Vince was mean to him for some reason.
Well, what he did is he cut JJ's salary.
Well, that's being mean, isn't it?
There was a whole, this is an era, where I guess in business was down in 93, but they soldiered on. Business was down in 94, but they soldiered on. But as I understand it, in 95, they cut everyone's salary. And by everyone, I mean the quote unquote wrestling people. Wrestling people got their salaries cut 50%.
Yikes.
So if you were a wrestling person like JJ Dillon or Bruce Pritchard, if you were making, 200 grand, now you're making 100 grand. If you were making 100 grand, now you're making 50 grand.
Yikes.
He did not pass those pay cuts on to the non-wrestling people. So people who had a background in marketing and this was their first foray into wrestling, they kept the same salary.
Okay.
And JJ felt a certain type of way about that, specifically because prior to the pay cut, he had gone to Vince, or Vince had come to him and said, hey, I don't want you to keep renting. I want you to put some roots down here. I want you to buy a home. And at the time, JJ had a much younger wife and she was keen to start a family and Vince wanted that for them. So they bought a beautiful house that had like an atrium in the center with a tree growing through the thing. And it was a beautiful house that his wife fell in love with. But when he went to go get the financing secured, he had trouble with it because they required a larger down payment than what he could come up with. And Vince said, no problem. I'll just give you the money. Mm-hmm. So he did. And then he started taking it out of his paychecks, as I understand it, to make sure that he got his down payment recouped from JJ. And then continued that process even once his salary was cut in half. Well, when the salary was cut in half, of course, he could no longer afford
that house
payment. And the real estate market had certainly softened because it wasn't just the WWF in trouble. It was the economy. So as the economy went down, well, so did home prices and interest rates were high. So it was impossible for them to just sell the house and figure it out. Eventually they did sell the house, took a massive loss, and he hightailed it out of there.
Yeah.
As I understand it, gave notice the weekend that Shane was getting married. And there's rumor and innuendo that perhaps JJ had been steering the ship during all of the various scandals, maybe most prolifically the steroid scandal, the one that nearly put Vince in prison. And as a result of that, maybe JJ was privy to some things that he shouldn't have been. As people like to say, maybe he knew where the bodies were buried.
Wow. This is a great story.
And Vince was very concerned that his family, instead of celebrating what a great moment this should be, when Shane McMahon married the heir to Mazola cooking oil, this is, these two power families getting together in a beautiful ceremony. Perhaps the news media would be there looking for quotes and interfering in a beautiful family event. So he was desperate to see, what are your plans? And of course he found out his plans were go to WCW, move down to Atlanta, get restore my sanity and my pay and my income and get some more stability in my life. And so here he is debuting several months later, because that was 1996, here in WCW. He's on air now as a television character, being the WCW commissioner. And by the way, if you have an opportunity to meet JJ in real life, if he's at some event or meet and greet or some sort of convention or fan fest in your area, go out of your way to do it. He's in fine health. He's great. But I am just saying, as some of our legends get a little older, it becomes more and more apparent this will be the last time that you might get to see some of those different folks. I just can't help but think about the fact that we had guys like Pat Patterson, who was so full of life at the very first StarCast, Man, he was gone way, way too soon. And so many others. I encourage you, these legends like JJ, go out of your way, go say hello, go get a picture, go get an autograph. If not for you, for them. It means a lot to them that you still remember.
How about how long that Austin has this sharpshooter on Brett?
Yeah, so
They had
the story
Right.
here is that they've both got knee injuries. So the night before at the pay-per-view,
Wow.
they really circled in on him taking, him being Brett, taking Austin's knee brace off and attacking the knee. So he is returning the favor here. And in real life, he probably needs to get that knee scoped and checked out and requires a procedure. He's going to wind up on some crutches and then in a wheelchair. And he's actually going to miss the big showdown that they're going to have on the books and circled for June. The story is we're trying to get Stone Cold a world title shot in May against The Undertaker. But in June, the plan is to have Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart 2. Wasn't actually their second meeting, but a lot of people think of that meeting at WrestleMania 12 and that main event as, hey, here's the first chapter. So here's the rematch, if you will. It was supposed to happen at WrestleMania. It was supposed to happen at King of the Ring. Neither wound up happening because Bret really did need surgery. So this is all done as a way to sort of explain away what happened. But because Austin is the babyface, he can't just go attack him like this. This has to be retribution for what happened the night before.
Got it, man. He was.
Isn't that great? The head wagging and all that.
Yeah.
You know, oh, fuck you. You can even read his lips.
I know you can.
So some of this was happening during the commercial break. I think we should actually take one too, Tony. I'm at 36:31. I'm going to stop it down when we get to 40. So when we get to 36:40, we'll go ahead and hit pause. There it is. And, you know, here's the deal too. It's probably times like these where, you know, Brett's saying to himself, self, what kind of insurance do I have for this? Well, that's probably what you need to be thinking about for the members of your family on 4 legs. Of course, I'm talking about our friends at Embrace Pet Insurance. I really, really believe in this product because, man, my family has had some circumstances over the last several months where we had to make some tough decisions, and it was about pet care. And hey, we're not sure if there's anything we can do, but there is this one thing we can try, but it's no guarantee. But boy, it's awfully expensive. We did it. But boy, at that time, I sure was thinking to myself, got to be a better way. And that's how we became introduced with Embrace Pet Insurance. And let's be honest, one of the most important little heartbeats in your life are our 4-legged friends. I've been out of town for a bit, and I cannot tell you how excited I was to not only get home and have my own bed, my own shower, and all those creature comforts, but what I was most excited about is when I get in my chair and then here come my girls. Man, that's so fun. I'm talking about Ginger and Baby. We all know how Tony feels about Bug. But let's also be honest, man, having a pet is expensive. From the natural pet food to pet sitting when you go on vacation, man, all those costs can skyrocket quickly. But one thing that's definitely worth it for your fur baby is pet insurance. You know that Tony loves Bug and that I love Ginger and Baby. We want to do everything we can to help them live a happy, full life. This podcast, and we're so grateful for them as a sponsor, is sponsored by Embrace Pet Insurance. It's time to upgrade your pet insurance game. Whether you have a dog or a cat, Embrace Pet Insurance offers customized plans for your exact needs. And here's something you're going to learn the hard way. Veterinary care prices have increased by 1/3. That's right. They're up 33% from last year to this year. It's just insane. But now with Embrace Pet Insurance, you can visit any, that's right, you can visit any veterinarian or emergency clinic. If you have multiple pets, you can even be eligible for a 10% multi-pet discount. They've even got a 24/7 helpline and optional wellness rewards to help ensure you prioritize preventative care for your pet. So hopefully you never need to use Embrace in the first place. But what happened is my daughter, Kansas, man, she's had a little doggy for 9 years. lived with her and her mom in more recent years. And man, she just loved that little rascal. And things were tough. All of a sudden, she got sick. Bad. And those pet bills were thousands of dollars. They weren't sure what to do. Dad saved the day, but boy, do I wish we had embraced pet insurance. We wouldn't have had to deplete some savings and really tap that when we weren't planning on it. And let me just say this too. I know some of our listeners might think that pet insurance is unnecessary or pricey, but let me just go ahead and give you the heads up here. This is a great testimonial I want to share with you. Embrace made such a tremendous difference in my life. I could make decisions for my dog without thinking about my own needs. I could give him whatever the vet suggested he needed, thinking only of how to best help him. Every part of this process was easy, from getting a pre-existing condition screening to making claims to being reimbursed, and every person I spoke to at Embrace was compassionate and professional. My advice is to get coverage early and get it from Embrace. It was not just a good financial decision for us, but the most humane and caring one. The reality is eventually you're going to be faced with this option of, hey, do I do what's best for my pet that I love, or what's best for my financial situation? Don't put yourself in that spot. Let Embrace sort of bridge that gap for you. Don't wait for the unexpected to happen. Join the massive community of pet owners who trust Embrace Pet Insurance to protect their pet. Head over to embracepetinsurance.com/WHW and sign up for pet insurance today. Now make sure you go to embracepetinsurance.com/WHW, or else they won't know I sent you. That's embracepetinsurance.com/WHW. Pet insurance, Tony, something you and I both believe in, right?
Yeah, just like you said, my dogs, we have 4 dogs now, the most important things in our lives. And we've often said, it doesn't matter what it takes.
Yes.
We will make sure our pets are safe and healthy. And a lot of times you say that and then you're hit with these bills and it's like, yikes. I mean, with 4 dogs, there was a $1,500, I guess maybe 6 months ago when we first, 3 months ago when we first got Scout. When we had to bring Scout in and Kirby in and Bug in. And it was like $1,500 that week. So that's why we switched over, and it's helped us out a great deal.
Check it out, embracepetinsurance.com/WHW. It's something you won't regret. You won't regret watching the rest of this Raw with us either. We're at 36 minutes and 40 seconds. I'm going to get us going here in 3, 2, 1, play.
And we do have help. Someone just stirred.
Broken or what?
I don't know. He claims it is. He claims his leg is. Bulldog is shouting. His leg is broken. His leg is broken. What? We have. I think there's a commotion.
What else is going to go on here?
There's a commotion back.
Austin, what the hell is the matter
What the hell do you mean? What's wrong with me? I told you when I was going to do the Bret Hart.
You're out
And I
of
ain't
control.
through. You damn right. And I ain't through yet.
We have rules and regulations here, and you've broken every
You
one of
damn
them.
right, because I don't care about them.
Well,
What are you
I'll
going to
tell
do
what
about
I'm
it?
gonna do.
What
I
do you
want you to get your ass out of this building right now.
Nobody
Go
talks
out
to me
there,
like that.
get some
Don't
fresh
talk
air,
to me
and
like that.
calm down.
I'll whip your ass, dude.
I want you out of here.
Don't you
Get
dare tell me.
out.
I'm either
Get
get that
out.
guy or cut you a damn break.
Stone Cold Steve Austin out to get a breath of fresh air and to calm down. And Bret Hart, he just screamed at one of the EMTs. They have him on a stretcher.
My leg, goddammit. It's his leg. It's his leg.
We apologize for the language, but Bret Hart is in pain. His wrist, his knee. Bret is hurt. And Bulldog and Owen, there to help him. We'll be back, ladies and gentlemen. Stay with us for more Raw is War. Bret Hart is in a real bad way.
Tony, what do you think of this so far, man? This is a good story, is it not?
Damn right it is. I love Gorilla Monsoon. Did Austin tell him he'd cut his throat?
Oh, I don't think so.
As looking out.
I think he said, I'm going to cut you a damn break.
Okay. All right. I heard cut and I went, ooh, what did he say? So this is beginning, the second hour of it?
That's right. So what they started to do is get kind of cute in this era Raw is War is the name of the overall program, but they would have it broken into 2 hours so they could brag that we have, 2 shows in the top 10 on cable or whatever. So hour 1 would be called Raw is War. No, Monday Night Raw, and hour 2 would be called the War Zone or vice versa. But the idea is overall the 2-hour block is Raw is War. So I guess hour 1 is Monday Night Raw and 2 is the War Zone.
Okay.
Because once upon a time, Monday Night Raw was just an hour. And I got to tell you, those hours just absolutely flew by. I do like an hour-long wrestling show. I don't hate, and I've gotten accustomed to a 2-hour wrestling show. A 3-hour wrestling show, no matter how good, I always am like, okay, let's hurry this up a little bit.
Right. Yeah, as an announcer too.
For sure.
Yeah.
So we've got something interesting here. That's Sal Sincere, I believe, on the right, who is an enhancement talent largely introduced in 1996, I believe. The real life Tom Brandy. And then on the left is Tiger Ali Singh, a guy that they signed with a lot of fanfare, who they thought could be a real international needle mover for them. Of course, that wound up not being the case. But they just saw, as you probably heard earlier, he won the Kuwaiti Cup, the second annual Kuwaiti Cup. Ahmad Johnson won it in 1996, and now Tiger Ali Singh here wins it in 1997. What WWE was really smart about doing, perhaps more than anybody, is whenever business would be soft here domestically, tickets aren't moving here in America, let's run a tour of Canada. Man, they really figured that out early and had a lot of success there. But then they really turned the volume up on that, and they said, hey, you know what? Let's go abroad. They started doing sold shows, Tony, because there's all these different promoters all over the world who are just looking to, hey, how can I get an act in here locally at my local venue and leverage all the media contacts I have and contacts with the building, get a good deal on the media buy, get a good deal on the building, and then just pay a flat fee to the performers, and then everything over that is sort of my profit. So the P&L might work like, hey, we'll pay the wrestling company, $150,000 to do their show, and then we're going to pay the building, $15,000, and we're going to do $15,000 in marketing. So I'll have 180 as my nut, and then if I can go ahead and draw 220, well, I made 40 grand in a night here, so let's do it. That was the idea, and it worked fabulously for the WWE. They would run a lot of sold shows in areas like Kuwait, and some of those were interesting adventures. I've heard from guys over the years where it would be like, hey, it's a 20,000 seat arena, about 40 people out there. But the money was good, and they were getting paid, and they didn't have to worry about it. We're doing a little split screen here. We're seeing Brett being loaded into the back of an ambulance on the left, Tom Brandy and Tiger Ali Singh on the right. They've wrapped up Brett's knee around the jeans. Let's track it here.
You guys calm down. You trying to tell me to don't tell us to calm down?
Come on.
Oh, this is not supposed to happen. What the hell's that? A bunch of crap. He doesn't do this to my brother. I'm telling you.
Let's get back to the action. And
how fun was it, Owen wearing a Michigan windsuit too? Which is proof that, a lot of the wrestlers, Jeff Jarrett, maybe most famously besides Mick Foley, if it's free, he'll wear it.
Tom Brandy came to see me when I did a game in Scranton. So I can't remember if he lived in Scranton or if he was there for an autograph signing or what, but he and I talked for a little bit. It was good to see him. He still looks good, man.
Did you get any paper while you were there in Scranton?
What's that?
Did you get any paper?
Paper? No.
You didn't swing through Dunder Mifflin, see if they could hook you up?
Oh, that? No, I did not. I spent a lot of time in Scranton, never saw Dunder Mifflin.
I went to Scranton a few years ago, I guess it was 2019, to recruit a branch to work in our mortgage outfit. I was successful in doing so, but the fellow I traveled up there with did not make the sales call with me, just no-showed. And I eventually had to call the hotel to do a wellness check. And I was kind of concerned, like, hey, man, this is unlike him. We've done a lot of these together and nowhere to be found now. What are we going to do? So then I just called the hotel and I said, hey, can you do a wellness check? on this guy at this room? And sure enough, they do. And they called me and say, hey, we don't think he's breathing. What should we do? And I said, well, I think you should hang up and call 911. And they're like, is that what you want us to do? And I go, if you're telling me my friend is not breathing, that is exactly what I'm telling you to do.
They
Call
really do that.
I swear on my mother.
They called you before they called 911.
And to say, what should we do?
Yeah.
I mean, what was I supposed to say? Get a hefty bag and put them on a luggage cart and bring them to my room. I'll deal with it when I get back. No. Get on the horn, call 911. Let's go. So then I had to cut my meeting short. I said, well, guys, I appreciate y'all renting out this wonderful banquet room here at the hotel, and excited to have you on board, and love to answer more of your questions. But I think the guy I flew up here with has passed away. So I'm going to need to go sort that out and call his wife and let them know what's going on. And they were like, I'm sorry. I still landed the sale, which I couldn't believe.
Mm-hmm.
But then I wound up going to the hospital, and they had him in there as John Doe. And I was like, no, he's not John Doe. Here's his name, blah, blah, blah. And I went in there, buddy, it was something serious. But we stayed a day. He wound up being okay. He was fine.
Oh, okay. So he wasn't dead.
He wasn't dead. But let me just say this. He found out the hard way. He needed a CPAP machine. So highly recommend that. Oh, so there's Jerry Briscoe now, and they're cruising Bret Hart into the ambulance, as we used to hear on the internets. Let's track it here.
What's the cables, guys? You're gonna be okay. Come on. Open the door. Watch his knee. Come on. Watch his knee. We're gonna take care of it. Come on, guys. Let's move it. Come on. Let's move it. Let's go, guys. Let's get him to the hospital. Come on, let's go. Come on, Brent. We're here with you, friends. Okay. Let's go, Tracy. Say one word. Don't you say a word. I told you we're going straight to hell. Come on, let's go. Oh, God. Oh, no. Oh, my God. Look at this. Oh, no. Hey. Is it so? Oh, my God. Look at
Tony, that's the best ambulance attack in the history of wrestling for my money.
Yeah, no, there's no question about that. This is really, really freaking good.
So they load him all the way up into the ambulance. You've got Owen and the Bulldog there. You can hear Bret saying, I want that bastard dead. Then we get a shot from the shotgun perspective in the front of the ambulance, and it's Stone Cold wearing a white hat, and you see the driver on the outside of the window and Austin accosting him. And then back to the back of the ambulance he goes, starts whipping ass, and now Bulldog and Owen are just super frustrated on the ramp. How the hell did this happen? Bret's gone, but man, they're not done with Stone Cold. They want revenge. This to me is wrestling television writing, maybe at its best. And I know we get lots of criticism, and it's become an LOL, and everybody likes to poke fun and slam dunk on Vince Russo. Russo wrote all this, guys. Now, granted, he did have the filter of Vince McMahon or whatever people want to use. But that team of Vince and Vince wrote some compelling television, because think about, if you're watching along with us, and I know the commercials are out of here, we're 47 minutes into an hour and a half show. So we'll call it halfway through. And at this point, think about how many skits or segments we've had with Steve Austin. This is our A storyline. We start with him. We see him come out for the street fight. Then we see the backstage segment with him and Monsoon, and now the ambulance attack. We've seen him 4 times in the first roughly hour of the show, but it's not like overdone. It's not oversaturation. It's just the A storyline. And very little of this was in-ring action. And that's something the newsletters at the time, Tony, would be very critical of. And they would say, oh, WCW gives you more in-ring match time. The WWE, they don't do that. Well, shit. This is pretty damn good for my money.
To me, the best you can do is a great mix of both. And I mean, the in-ring stuff has not been that satisfying here, with the exception of what happened with that street fight. But regardless, it's compelling TV. It helped make, Stone Cold one of the great stars, maybe the greatest star of all time.
Well, respectfully, if you had two headline stars wrestling on the right side of the window when we were doing picture in picture sort of thing, it would have really taken away from what they were doing. But it just happening in the background with Sal Sincere and Tiger Ali saying, it allowed this Bret Hart storyline to really be front and center. Oh my gosh, take a listen to this.
We're in New York, baby. Jesse James knows a little something about war. So let's get funky. Spend my day working hard on the go, but the hands on the clock keep spinning too slow. I can't wait to be alone with my baby tonight. You know my baby got me wrapped around the little finger, cause he knows that I will walk through hell and back to be with her. I can't wait to be alone with my baby tonight. I can't wait till he quits singing. You'll leave every worry in this world behind. Maybe it's true, I've got a one-track mind, but it's hard to concentrate around a girl like mine.
Jesse James, ladies and gentlemen.
Come on!
And he can wrestle every bit as well as he can sing. He's the real deal, no doubt about it. And
He won't win many matches, then.
Rockabilly,
You ready for
ladies
this?
and gentlemen, many of you saw him make his debut just last
You ain't
night
ready, Tony.
in your house, full of surprises, full of action, and there he is, Honky Tonk Man, along with, well, he used to be known as Billy Gunn, JR.
Now, three-time WWF Tag Champion. He wants to be called Rockabilly now. He's a Honky Tonk Man's #1 draft pick.
Yeah, he certainly is.
And the crowd went mild. Well, you want to talk about humble beginnings. Billy Gunn had such an incredible run with the Smoking Guns. Of course, the business was down at the time. But here you see Honky Tonk Man recruiting him just 2 weeks ago.
Rockabilly. And look at the right hand. That was an emphatic no. And
Oh, wait a minute. I got you back. Here we go.
And Billy wanted nothing to do with it, but then eventually he changes his mind. Totally different look. No more the blue jeans. They're black jeans, the sequined denim jacket, dancing a little bit. He's Rockabilly now, managed by the Honky Tonk Man, and he's wrestling the real Double J, Jesse James. And of course, they're doing this because on the other channel, we've got Jeff Jarrett in the middle of a Four Horsemen feud. And of course, the original payoff was going to be that the roadie was the world's greatest singer, not actually Jeff Jarrett. He had been lip syncing like Milli Vanilli, but he leaves the company before that actually gets to pay off. So we're going to stick it to him by having a former Marine. You even heard Jesse James come to the ring there saying, oh, Jesse James knows something about war because he is a Gulf War veteran.
Right.
And now you've got these two guys working and literally no one cares. What's fascinating is later this year, they put them together and they start calling themselves the New Age Outlaws. And ta-da, magic.
Mm-hmm.
These guys would be one of the most over acts in the history of wrestling. And it just goes to show you, man, sometimes, it's timing is everything, and you got to be patient, because it would have been really easy for either one of these guys to say, hey, this sucks. I don't want to do this. I'm out of here. But they powered through these really regrettable gimmicks and wound up becoming one of the most prolific tag teams of all time. And still to this day, I think if Road Dogg came out on TV and did his full rap, the audience would know it word for word and sing right along with him. And how can you argue with Billy Gunn's success now with the Acclaimed? Like, they have just stayed over for a quarter decade, but that would have never been predicted if you're just watching what we see right now.
There's a key to what you were talking about just now, and it's something that I try to impress upon talent in AEW as working in talent relations, and that is be patient. Hang in there. It's much easier said than done. Doesn't always pan out. But a lot of times, because we have so many wrestlers and everybody wants to be on top, I know that. Everybody wants television time on Dynamite and or now Collision and Rampage, of course, but everybody wants to be on TV. And you just say, you know what, right now, it kind of goes in cycles, and just hang in there. You'll get your shot. And once you get your shot, the timing may be right, and you may become something. And the Acclaimed and badass Billy Gunn or daddy ass Billy Gunn, whatever you want to call him, their time was right, and look what they've become. One of our most over acts. So patience and hang in there, and very, very important. And it's hard to make kids understand that. It really is. It's really hard.
You see, our referee here is Timmy White, Honky Tonk Man on the outside of the ring. Honky Tonk Man here. It's crazy to think how quickly things change, because if you go back to 1987, 10 years prior to this, I mean, that dude had white hot heat, one of the hottest heels in all of wrestling. But 10 years later, boy, he just looks out of place here, in my opinion. And I think we've only really seen that a handful of times, where it's like, this thing was hot and huge and it worked so well. And then just a handful of years later, it was like, boy, what happened?
Yeah.
And the two examples I can think of, and I mean this with all respect, because I know how much we both think of these guys, but I feel the same way about the Rock and Roll Express. It's like, hottest, biggest, baddest thing, best thing going, 1986. You fast forward just 5 years to 1991, and you're like, wait, what happened? And it's sort of the same thing here for me with Honky Tonk Man. Like, there wasn't like heat when he came out like there was in 87, and there weren't cheers. You see fans in the background, they're wearing Austin 316 shirts right across from the hard camp. They're just sitting there with their arms folded, like, get this over with. We don't care.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing how quickly it can change, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I kind of equate the Rock and Roll Express's I don't know if we call it downturn or the change in the attitude towards Rock and Roll Express, almost to the change between the 80s and the 90s.
Yeah, I could see that.
Because the 80s were a lot of quote unquote groupies and the big hair era and the bands and that type of music. And then 1990, the music scene kind of changed. And from my perspective, it did. Maybe I'm wrong. So I just think that the taste of the American public had changed by that time. So
we're blessed to be watching 1997. This is such a transitional year. The same night on the other channel is where we would see them starting to build towards the 6-man tag with Flair, Piper, and Kevin Green. And of course, on the other side, we know it's going to be Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, and Six. They're talking about paving highways and how there were holes, and it was littered with potholes and blah blah blah. The full show that night was Dean Malenko and Yuji Nagata, Glacier and Cyclope, Ultimo Dragon and Bobby Eaton, Ming and Chris Jericho, Rick and Scott Steiner and Public Enemy, Jeff Jarrett and Scotty Riggs, Six and Rey Mysterio, DDP and Psychosis. And then, of course, we know that we would see, everything sort of come to a head here with DDP and Randy Savage with the attack with the crutches and all that.
Right.
I really thought that at the time, and I think it won Feud of the Year in PWI, Pro Wrestling Illustrated. I think Randy Savage and DDP won Feud of the Year. Yeah, but on some level, as somebody who was watching at the time, I really enjoyed it, and I understood why they won, because they were clearly the number one promotion. Like, you guys are firmly in the lead. But I would have probably argued that the Feud of the Year for me was Brett and Austin.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that just based on what I'm watching, what I watch here today.
Yeah.
How can you get a better angle than this? You can't.
But this tells you where the business is, though. Monday Night Raw here is sold out.
Right.
With 3,846 tickets. They're in tiny buildings because that's where their business is.
Right.
It's a city record house of $67,000.
And they're also in the heart of WWE.
Yes.
New York.
Yes.
But it looks good.
Oh, for sure. It looks great.
And we can say, oh, geez, only 3,000 people. But if you look, hell, it looks like 20,000 or 10,000 people.
By the way, I want to mention the Sultan wound up being hospitalized after this show. Saw his match with Ahmad Johnson. He had fractured ribs and a swollen eye.
Yeah, from that kick, we saw it.
The kick to the face, yes.
Right.
And then the 2x4 shots. Yeah. We're also going to see Henry Godwin. He's going to be out here later. He's going to take a bump from the Road Warriors. You'll see it when it happens. But compressed vertebrae, a.k.a. broken neck.
Wow.
A lot of craziness happening here.
Jeez. So Ahmed hurt just about everybody he worked with, didn't he?
Ahmed was a walking injury report, if you will. We thankfully, mercifully, this match is over.
Okay. Thank God.
Let's track it here, see how they're trying to spin this.
Last night. Uh-oh. Watch out for the backbiter! Oh. I thought this match was over! And now it looks like it's only begun. Look out! Oh, good Lord! Oh, come on! Oh, look what he's doing! Another heirloom!
Man, is there anything better than a gimmicked guitar? Although I gotta admit that one looks a little less gimmicked than Jeff Jarrett's do at times.
Yeah.
Where are you at on gimmick guitar shots?
I'm for them if they're the right people.
Yeah.
You're not. You're
I love them. I'm super for them. I like frilly toothpicks and a club sandwich. I'm for them.
Do not fire yourself! Don't touch me! I'll touch anybody I want. No, you won't.
Austin, knock it off! What? Austin, you're this close to losing your license.
He's about this close to losing his license. Oh, don't touch me! Look, I'm not no problem with yourself, man. I want you. You just dropped down. You will have a problem with me. What do you mean? He's getting on me.
Just calm down. I'll talk to this maniac. Calm down.
They're taking a break. We will too, Tony. I'm going to stop it down at 48, 101.48. There we go. We'll take this time out and we're going to talk about something you and I both care a lot about, and that's saving money. And here's something you can do that isn't painful, and boy, is it profitable. I'm talking about our friends at Rocket Money. And I got to admit, I didn't think they could save me a doggone dollar. I'm usually on top of these things. But what they do, and man, I can't believe it's this easy, is they find the subscriptions you forgot about and you don't use, or maybe you signed up for twice, and they automatically cancel them just like that. And if you're struggling to save money every month, Rocket Money is the hot tag you've been looking for. They quickly identify all those sneaky subscriptions that keep charging you month after month, and they cancel the ones you no longer use or want. It's such an easy way to start saving money. In fact, more than 80% of people have subscriptions they've forgotten about. In fact, it's too easy to subscribe to a free trial of something and then completely forget about it once you stop using it. Right as those monthly charges start rolling in, that's why I'm such a big fan of Rocket Money. And it's 2023, and it appears that, well, we can't just buy stuff anymore. We've got to subscribe to them. Tony, I saw this the other day. Like, BMW is now charging you monthly fees if you want heated seats. It's no longer just an option you could buy on your car. Now, oh, you want to keep that going? Well, you got to pay us some money every month. Rocket Money says, dude, that's just silly. You see, most folks think they're paying like $80 a month. It's actually more like $200 a month. That's why I use Rocket Money. Seriously, you'll find that it's a personal finance app that finds and cancels your unwanted subscriptions. It also helps you monitor your spending. And dude, it even helps you lower your bills all in one place. With Rocket Money, you can easily cancel everything you don't want with the press of a button. No more stupid hold times. No more annoying emails with customer service. Bam! Rocket Money does all the work for you. And check this out. Now Rocket Money can even negotiate to lower your bills for you, sometimes by up to 20%. All you got to do is take a picture of your bill and Rocket Money takes care of the rest. Not only that, they'll recommend custom budgets for you based on your past spending. And hey, they'll even give you a heads up. They'll send you a notification when you've reached your spending limit. With over 5 million users and counting, Rocket Money has saved its customers an average of $720 a year. We're talking over $1 billion in savings. So stop wasting money on things you don't use. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and manage your money the easy way by going to rocketmoney.com/WHW. That's rocketmoney.com/WHW, rocketmoney.com/WHW. Tony, let's get back to our playback. Here we are at 101.48. You'll see JR in his cowboy hat on the left, the King with his crown on the right, and the Mac Daddy of them all, Vincent Kennedy McMahon, right in the center. And over his shoulder, a guy flexing a jersey that says, Pigs. And we'll get going here at 101.48 in 3, 2, 1, play.
Mankind is in the building. As a matter of fact, we understand he's standing by. But what was the meaning of what we saw a few moments ago? Austin in an argument with Shawn Michaels, who helped him earlier.
Well, I think first of all, Steve Austin doesn't want anybody to help him. Steve Austin has no allies and wants none. And I think Steve Austin, quite frankly, was very offended that Shawn Michaels come to help Steve Austin.
What?
Steve Austin is an idiot then.
Well, I'm just explaining what I think, King. I'm not saying he's an idiot or not. That's my take on it.
Certainly, Austin doesn't want to owe anybody anything.
His flesh.
Mankind. Can you hear me? Mankind.
His flesh was hanging from his handsome face, held there by his very own hands. As we made our way to the sanctuary, I could smell the stench of burning skin. And when he pulled his hands away, his face melted. But not one whimper was heard from Uncle Paul. Not then, or later on at the burn unit when the scraping procedure began. He never cried. He was so brave. But now, thanks to the Undertaker, he's disfigured like me. Get well soon, Uncle Paul. I miss you.
So, of course, the night before, we saw the Undertaker present a fireball
Yep.
to the face of Paul Bearer. And you've seen over the years some guys try to throw a fireball, and that almost never works. I've heard both Jerry Lawler and Jim Cornette say you don't throw a fireball, you present it.
Right.
And clearly you would see in the left hand of the Undertaker, he had some flash paper, in the right hand, the lighter, and he presented it right on the face of Paul Bearer. And a lot of times you would see guys do this, like when they tried it with the Ultimate Warrior and Hulk Hogan a year and a half later at Halloween Havoc 98.
Oh, God.
Boy, it was just a disaster. But man, they were all over Paul Bearer there. So that's what Mankind is referring to, the flesh hanging off his face, Uncle Paul. And in the middle of that, here comes the Undertaker gong. And for my money, this is the most iconic version of the Undertaker. The slow walk to the ring, the purple lights, the big gong. I mean, I was never a huge Undertaker fan of the actual persona, but I could appreciate how different it was and how cool it was. And the first time I got to see him at a house show live, I did get the goosebumps because the entrance, man, it's just surreal. It really was special. But I kind of liked and related to and thought it was a little more believable than here's this undead guy walking around looking for your soul. I understand that's fun. And if you like comic books and bullshit like that, that's great. But him being a badass motorcycle dude riding to the ring on a bike and calling himself the American Badass and just being bigger than everybody and choke slamming people and tatted head to toe, that felt more believable to me. Like if that character, the American Badass, walked into my favorite watering hole, I'd be like, what the fuck? If this guy came in,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I guess I'd call Ghostbusters.
Well, you're wrong, but that's okay. Being wrong. This is the best version of the Undertaker.
Oh, I'm just saying I agree with you. I'm saying I agree this is the best version of the Undertaker. But I'm saying as far as what I could buy into personally, like I get the allure, I understand it. Oh, here comes the flash paper again. That's the third time we've seen it today. We're making sure we're plugging number 4 right there on Coliseum Video. Man, the 5th time. Look at that.
You know, flash paper is nothing but tissue, really.
Yes.
You can't go to the store, I don't think, say, could I have some flash paper?
No, you can.
You can?
You go to like spy shops or magic shops. They
Okay.
still sell it. You can get it.
Okay.
I actually only know that because I'm a bit of a dickhead. Did you know that?
I've been told that by people close to you, but I never bought into it. But go ahead. Maybe you'll change my mind.
Well, I'm kind of a dickhead. And so I like to do funny things.
Oh,
And
yeah, that I know.
Sometimes what's funny to me, it ain't always funny to everybody else.
That I know too.
And, listen, I miss the mark every now and again, but most of the time I'm on the money, if I do say so myself.
Okay.
So I said to myself, I want to fuck with some people in the office. There's one guy in particular I really want to fuck with. So I went down to the spy shop because I knew they would have something. And I said, hey, man. He says, hey, how can I help you? Are you here because you want to catch your wife cheating? I was like, wait, what? And he goes, well, no. Do you have somebody who's trying to screw you around and you want to wear a pin that's actually a camera? Huh? Would you like to put a camera in a little bear's eye, and that way you can spy on your babysitter and see what they're doing? I go, no, man, I don't want any of that. Oh, well, do you need a taser? Because we got these shock sticks, and if you're getting one for your daughter or your sister, your mom or your wife, we could get you one that's sort of concealed, it's smaller, and it's pink. No, bro, I'm not here for any of that. Well, what are you here for? What do you have in a doo-doo spray? I'm sorry? Yeah, don't you have like something that smells like dookie doo? I need something that just the most foul smelling spray. He goes, oh, of course we do. Come on over here to the doo-doo spray section. So I went over to the doo-doo spray section and managed to buy some gloves from the grocery store. Went out behind the office, sprayed down this rag with the doo-doo spray.
Yeah.
And put it in a Ziploc bag.
Yeah.
Carried it through the office to the serial offender's office. And then threw it underneath. He had a big L-shaped desk, and he would keep his monitor in this one spot on top. And then there's the computer, but on the other side of the computer, you get that doo-doo smell. And I knew that computer also had a fan. And we're going to stir it up, and he's going to be looking all around and not be able to find it because it's on the other side of the computer in the far recesses of the corner of the L desk.
Yeah.
So that's where the doo-doo smell resided. And I was pretty proud of it. It worked.
Great job. Great job. And I kind of blew me away that you said that you have been known to give people a hard time. That's not like you.
Oh, you hadn't heard about that?
No, I hadn't heard about that.
I got to step my game up with you, buddy.
Yeah. Hey, so the Undertaker and Triple H here, and Chyna coming to the ring with him. God, she was spectacular, wasn't she?
Dude, look at the traps. Look at the shoulders. I mean, she looks like, actually, I guess, now that I'm thinking about it, when we get finished today, I'm going to get on a group text, and I'm going to tell Cassio Kid what's left of him, because he died in a Guar concert last night, or not before last. But I'm going to tell his widow, his lovely widow, Big Booty Judy, that she should go as Chyna this year for Halloween.
Yeah, why not?
I think that'd be a great Halloween costume for her. She could pull Chyna off. She's got the buys, the tries. She's got the traps. She's got the pumpkin shoulders.
And the forearms. She's got right now, and as we're watching it, she's on the far side of the ring.
Yes.
But she's got her arms crossed to where she can just bulge out those biceps and also show you her forearms.
Yes.
And through all of that, in real life, one of the sweetest ladies ever, which blew me away.
When did you get to spend time with her again?
It was, I think, XWF.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, I never got to meet her. Heard a lot of great things about her. Of course, you can tell this is before she started to transform herself. She would get implants and facial reconstruction surgery and
Yeah.
really changed her look quite a bit. But this OG version of her is one of my favorites. I mean, just the idea, number one, of a female bodyguard as opposed to a valet
Right.
is cool. You know, in WCW, we used to see Mr. Hughes. And in fact, earlier in this Hunter Hearst Helmsley character evolution, earlier this same year, he had Mr. Curtis Hughes as his heavy, his second for him. I think it's like the Royal Rumble time. A month later, though, at the Final Four in Chattanooga, here comes China, and man, they hit it off in real life and on screen.
Yeah, she was pretty cool. And as a matter of fact, it wasn't long before she passed that she and I were texting back and forth.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, just seeing how everybody was doing, and everything was fine on her end, she said. And tough. Well, when you're my age and you go through life, you're going to lose a lot of people that you've talked to and a lot of people that you know, went to school with, became acquaintance with, work with. We talk all the time about, oh, look at all these people that are no longer with us in the ring. So just the way life goes. That's what Merle Haggard would say. Yeah. All right. Is she going to get involved here?
I mean, you got to assume, right?
Right. Well, he went the other way with it.
You know, here's the thing, too. Not everybody was willing to play ball with her.
Really?
Well, a lot of guys were like, I'm not getting beat up by a woman. You got to appreciate this is the era where even a guy like Disco Inferno, when faced with the opportunity to work with Miss Jackie or lose his job, he said, yeah, I don't think I'd rather get fired. Just go ahead and fire me.
Yeah.
So if I'm the Undertaker, I don't know that, hey, I'm dead. I'm the biggest badass. This is my yard, yada, yada, yada.
Right.
I'm the world champ. Yeah. Why don't you just have her give me some hip tosses?
Yeah. Isn't it amazing that we're looking at someone and we're talking about someone and seeing a match about someone who is so over and so good and such a legendary performer in this business as The Undertaker. And in the midst of all this, we have to bring up the name of a guy who may be the worst wrestler ever in the Disco Inferno.
Oh, wow. I didn't know where you were going with that. Cause I was going to think about, I just read, we put together, and you were kind enough to participate, Ric Flair's last match in Nashville last July.
Yes.
And I thought, who better to have the official referee give it a big fight feel than Mike Chioda. And I just read not too long ago that he said over on adfreeshows.com, because I admit I missed that episode of Monday Mailbag, that was his last time in the ring as an in-ring official. That was his last match too. So to think that was his last match, and we know what a legendary run The Undertaker would continue to have. We know that China, just a couple years after this, would go on to become Intercontinental Champion and participate in the Royal Rumble, the men's Royal Rumble. There wasn't a women's Royal Rumble back then. And in addition to that, Triple H would go on to not only become Intercontinental Champion again, but world champion many times over, a legendary Hall of Famer in his own right. But now, really the one of the driving forces behind the scenes in WWE. Certainly, Nick Khan is steering the ship. Ari Emanuel is the big boss for both Nick and Vince. But when it comes to creative and what we see on television, most people credit most of that with being under the watchful eye of Triple H, of course, with other players like Ed Koskey and Bruce Pritchard shepherding it along. But still, I don't think a lot of people, if you went back and you told them when this match was happening live, hey, that muscle bound chick on the outside of the ring, she's going to be Intercontinental Champion one day and one of the biggest stars of all time and have one of the highest selling Playboys in history, people would have said, nuh-uh.
Yeah.
And then if you would have said, hey, The Undertaker, who you've read in The Observer, is thinking about retiring any day now, He's actually going to wrestle like another 13 years. Nuh-uh. Actually, no, 23 years.
Wow.
And oh, by the way, that guy in there who won King of the Ring, or no, who hasn't even won King of the Ring yet, he's going to go on to run WWE. Nobody would have bought any of that.
No. And that's why I say, hang in there.
Yes.
Yes. You never know. I mean, look at me.
Yeah, you thought you were done with wrestling. Now you're going in the By God Hall of Fame, Waterloo, Iowa. And if I have anything to do with it, the Wrestling Observer Hall of Fame too.
Mm. Yeah, I'll never get into that one.
Yeah, you will.
No, I won't.
You're wrestling's TV dad. You're our Mike Seaver. Everybody loves Tony Schiavone.
Who is Mike Seaver? Am I missing
Oh
something?
my God. How do you not know who that is?
Is that from that 70s show?
No.
What's Mike Seaver from?
How do you not know? Growing Pains? Are you really not familiar with Growing
I'm
Pains?
not very familiar. I didn't watch Growing Pains.
All right. Do you know who Alan Thicke is, you asshole?
Yes.
All right. Well, you're our Alan Thicke.
Okay.
You're our TV. Take a compliment.
Okay. Tom Seaver was a great pitcher, and that's who I kept thinking you.
Well, you'll never be as good as Tom Seaver. I mean, let's just
No, and he's also dead.
Man, you really like just throwing that on people, don't you?
What? That he's dead?
Dead. You just like to pronounce and enunciate very particularly. Dead. Dead.
I'll throw that in the backstage area sometime, and it'll pop the boys.
Oh, look who it is. It's Marlena and Dustin.
Smoking material going on. Somebody's, hey, is that? Wait a minute. That's Dustin and Terry. I mean, Marlena. I met Marlena.
They're taking a break. We probably should too. I'm going to stop it down at 17:35. There it is. And of course, we're going to take a timeout because you saw Marlena, or Terry, as JR called her. She was puffing on a cigar. And, well, I can only hope that she's taking care of her health. Otherwise, I hope she starts every day with one delicious scoop of AG1. We started taking AG1 in my household long before the pandemic. My wife was absolutely in love with it. She said it made her more productive in the gym. She wanted me to start taking it because she wanted to support our immune system. You can also use this for better gut health, a boost in energy. Maybe you hate taking pills and vitamins. Maybe you want a supplement that actually tastes great. Well, AG1 makes me feel stronger. I have more clarity, more focus, more energy. It's a foundational nutritional supplement that has whole body health in mind. It replaces your multivitamin, your probiotic, and more, all in one simple drinkable habit. It's a science-driven formulation of vitamins, probiotics, and whole food sourced nutrients. Seriously, set yourself up for success with 75 different high-quality ingredients that give you the key daily nutrients that support energy, focus, strength, and clarity. Think of it as like your all-in-one nutritional insurance. If a comprehensive solution is what you need from your supplement routine, then try AG1 and get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase. Go right now to drinkag1.com/WHW. That's drinkag1.com/WHW. Check it out. You'll be glad you did. So, Tony, we're at 1 hour, 17 minutes, and 35 seconds. We're still watching Hunter Hearst Helmsley and The Undertaker. I'll count us back in here in 3, 2, 1, play.
A tremendous pummeling here from Hunter Hearst Helmsley. Undertaker has been battered and bruised for so long. I mean, you wonder just how much can one man take.
Well, the Undertaker battered and bruised. If Mankind would have had his way last night, he'd have also been deep fried.
Yeah.
The thing about it is how resilient can any human being be after that war last night with Mankind? And Helmsley is trying to take advantage of it in this non-title matchup.
Well, you said it yourself. If Helmsley makes a good accounting of himself, he'll get a title shot. He's doing it.
And Mankind is here in the building. We know that. He might be watching this match. Who knows? Stone Cold Steve Austin is expected. Oh, yeah. Austin expected to join us later on as well. for a live interview concerning his championship match with The Undertaker, upcoming in May in Richmond. And if Bulldog and Owen haven't found Stone Cold by then, I don't think it'll be difficult to find him in the ring if, in fact, they really want somebody.
I think that they do. There's no doubt. That's the difference maker right there. That high threshold of pain. Huge rights.
And then again, Bulldog and Owen may have left the facility to go check out Bret Hart in the hospital.
The only way they left is if they're chasing Stone Cold out of here.
I don't know.
As far as we know, Stone Cold may have went to the hospital.
Huh?
Oh, no.
You don't think so?
So you see that even though we're watching a title match here with Hunter and The Undertaker, everybody is talking about what's happening with Stone Cold and the Hart Foundation, when all of a sudden at the top of the ramp, here comes Mick Foley with an open flame coming down the ramp. Can you believe it? I mean, this looks like he's coming down to the ring to do some welding, Tony.
I believe he's going to try to weld the face.
I mean, the idea is, hey, you burned Uncle Paul, I'm here to burn you. And you see the Undertaker had all that makeup on his face and the bandages.
Where you going, McMahon?
Mankind just hit The Undertaker with that acetylene bottle. That's iron. Right in the face, directly in the face.
Hypothetically, I hate to try to bring logic into an illogical situation. But if you were a maniacal madman who wore a leather mask with spikes and pulled your own hair out of your head, and you were upset because your buddy's son had burned his face with flash paper, and now you brought a welding canister down to the ring, would you be more likely to hit him with the canister or to burn his face? Look at this.
He's trying to ignite it. Mankind's trying to ignite the blowtorch. It's sticking right in the Undertaker's face. He's trying to stop it. He's got to stop it. I don't know.
Of course, they wait until it gets the flame going, and then here comes the big choke to get out of it, and they're back at it. I love this feud. I love this rivalry. I feel like they were perfect opponents for each other. It's important to remember, too, that Mankind debuted just about a year ago. It was the night after WrestleMania 12. And here we are just, 5 weeks after WrestleMania 13 or so. So to still be working with The Undertaker, man, that's a vote of confidence from Vince. I mean, he is one of the most iconic characters. They're going to fight through the crowd and go to the backstage area, through the crowd, not up the ramp, but out the side. Oh, and look, Chyna finds herself being choked out here by Marlena. Just what she did to her in February. And now Dustin has hopped the rail and he's getting in a fight with Hunter. Some fan just threw a Coca-Cola on him. This is crazy, dude. Check this out. This is a fun segment.
I'm enjoying this, man.
You guys did wind up winning the ratings war that night.
Wow, really?
But it was not a huge victory. I think it wound up being 3.39 for Nitro, and Raw did a 2.75.
It's because of star power, wasn't because of storyline.
Yeah,
or quality of TV show.
This is a good show.
Yeah, this is a great show. Dustin obviously has not become Gold Dust yet.
No, he has been Gold Dust, but they had just done like a sit down interview with him where he talked about, his real life and his relationship with Dusty and all that. So now Austin is coming to the ring.
Wow.
I forget how many segments we've seen, but this is at least his third time coming to the ring tonight. But he looks a little different. He's no longer romping, stomping. He looks tired. He looks wore out. And his t-shirt, he's no longer wearing it. It's just kind of around his neck. And this is going to be a pretty big closing segment here. And it's interesting that we're closing with an interview, just like we started with Vince. Let's track it here.
You beat Bret Hart at his own game. After that, you were named the #1 contender for the World Wrestling Federation Championship. You'll face The Undertaker in May for the title. You sent Bret Hart to the hospital. I guess you feel pretty good about yourself right about now, don't you? Listen to these idiots.
I told the world that I would send Bret Hart straight back to Canada, and that's exactly what I did. The thing that gets me is I don't see why everybody's so happy, because none of you helped me do a damn thing. I did it by myself. You wave all your little signs, Austin 316, Stone Cold said so, whatever, and you with your little dimple chin gets on national television and starts running compliments up the yin yang because all of a sudden you want to jump on the Stone Cold bandwagon more than anybody in the world. Tell me I'm wrong.
You're right, McMahon's a hypocrite.
You're wrong. Because you can't. And I will knock your ass out right here in front of the world.
Go ahead and knock him out. I like you again.
As far as I'm concerned, Bret the Hitman Hart is through and finished in the World Wrestling Federation in the world, period.
Don't bet on it.
It's 1 down and 2 to go. Bulldog and Owen Hart have hell to pay.
If I can just interject here.
Interject.
It just seems to me that you're going to have hell to pay when you face The Undertaker.
The Undertaker's going to have the coldest day in hell he could ever imagine in Virginia or wherever the hell it is.
Richmond, May 11th.
Say what you want, because I really don't give a damn. You show up with all your little tombstones and all your little creatures of the night. But the most important thing I want you to do is bring your little golden belt and shine it up, because you will hand it over to Steve Austin. Silence! I am the ruler of the world. You ask, because you have to ask, what's going to happen with Stone Cold as the World Wrestling Federation champion? If you think for one split second, son, that I'm going to be a good role model, you got another thing coming. That's all I got to say. That's the bottom.
Oh, wait a minute. There you go. Oh, the Bulldog. What I tell you? My God, where'd they come from? Come on, oh, the Bulldog. Attack the...
So there you see another fun little promo from Stone Cold in full-blown Stone Cold character. And here's Owen Hart and the British Bulldog really laying waste to him. They got the jump on him. It's 2-on-1. This is where I think we're going to see the big return here any moment. You see McMahon trying to get involved and stop these boys from doing what they're doing to Stone Cold. They push down Vince. How about that? Owen pushed down Vince, and Vince is not happy.
I like the promo where he says, none of you all holding up the signs, but none of you are helping me. We're there to help me.
Yeah.
There's Shawn Michaels in.
Yep. Shawn Michaels chases off Owen and Bulldog again with the chair. He makes the save for a second time. Vince is going to jump out of the ring, go back to the announce position. We've still got about 3 minutes left in the show, and Austin is just laying lifeless there in the middle of the ring.
Get some help for him. Austin, get some help for him. Get some help for him. Austin assaulted by the tag champions, and we may need another ambulance. I hope so. Wouldn't it be great? Wouldn't it be great if all of a sudden Steve Austin was wheeled into the same emergency room that Bret the Hitman Hart is in? Huh?
They would go to war once again right there.
It has been a shocking night here on Raw is War. And Steve Austin pulling himself back up. Steve Austin.
Yeah, you got it, didn't you, McMahon? Huh?
Well, Shawn Michaels with that chair running the tag champions.
Where he had no business being. Steve Austin had already told Shawn Michaels to stay out of his business. But Shawn Michaels came in anyway.
Slowly but surely, Austin makes his way to his feet. He's just crouching over the top rope, clinging on for life. You hear JR and the King filibustering. McMahon still at ringside. We've got less than 2 minutes left in the show, and look at this.
Wait a minute. It's Brian Pillman in the world. Brian, that's a big world now. That's Brian Pillman. Oh my.
Brian Pillman with the attack, some tie-dye pants, and a shirt with the sleeves cut off that says, "I don't call 911," and a picture of a gun. Of course, a callback to their angle from October of the prior year. Let's not forget, though, it was Austin who attacked and injured the ankle of Brian Pillman with a chair. And here comes Brian Pillman sliding back in with a chair of his own, looking to exact some revenge on his old tag team partner.
God, it sounds like a gun going on.
He'll kill him. You better get back in there, McMahon. He'll kill him.
I'm not about to get in there. Brian Pillman has that chair. Look what he's doing.
Mocking him just like he did on Superstars. What a nice payoff. What a nice callback. The double fingers. Now he starts attacking referees. By the way, he re-injures himself in the course of this angle.
Oh, God.
He's in tremendous pain. This is the most pressure he's put on the ankle. He's hurting for certain on the other side of this, but man, he's doing what he can to be a player. And look, even setting the ankle up in the chair, just like what Stone Cold did to him. And then all of a sudden, here's Shawn Michaels to save the day. Beautiful storyline as we see this continue to evolve. Of course, at this point, we don't have a clear association that Brian Pillman is going to be joining the Hart Foundation. We know that's what's next. And we know that Stone Cold is going to cut an all-time great promo. And not too long after this on Monday Night Raw, he would say something like, you better give your ass to, you better give your heart to the Lord because your ass belongs to Stone Cold. Just a great line. What'd you think, man? That was a very fun Monday Night Raw, was it not?
I really enjoyed it. I really did. I probably should have been watching it back then. But you know, again, I didn't watch the other product, but it would have been worth watching it because hell, we probably could have come up with some ideas.
We definitely could have. I want to thank everybody who showed up and showed out for us today in our live studio audience. Of course, you know, Coach Rosie was here. He's always here. Appreciate his undying support. Aaron Sheen was here. Bobby was here. Eric was here. We just had so many folks like Coach Keith come by and spend the morning with us. Greatly appreciate you guys and Lucas and Denovius and everybody else. I'm sure I missed a few names like Kelly Cox along the way. It means a lot for you guys to come hang out with us. Shout out to Brian and the whole crew. I know Josh Fields was here, and I just love watching old school wrestling with you. And especially when guys like Mike Hoop can stop by, it means a lot to us. We appreciate your support. You get all these shows early and ad free over at adfreeshows.com. Speaking of that, we've actually had some fun on this show lately with our pal Marty Jannetty. Well, apparently we're not the only ones discussing old Marty. Over on Ad Free Shows, there's a Monday mailbag with Mike Chioda, and Mike and Paul Bromwell got to chatting, and I think Marty may have come up. Let's take a listen.
I remember when he left, went to Europe or somewhere for like 2 weeks, and then I remember when he got back, he found the girl that he left because he had to get up and catch his flight early in the morning, and he left some girl at the house. When he came back, she was still there. I remember him telling me she was still there in the bed, but the room stunk. But she must have passed away in the bed or something. But he never killed her.
That's a different story. So this is when he was a younger kid, and something happened. A guy attacked him in a car, and Marty lashed back. There's a rumor the guy died. dragged him in the woods maybe or something.
Oh shit! I never heard that story.
Yeah.
Wow.
You never know what you're going to hear on adfreeshows.com. We've got Monday Mailbag with Mike Chioda, another Monday Mailbag with Nick Patrick, Tuesdays with the Taskmaster, Lex Expressed, Making the Towns with Blue Meanie. And when we finish here today, Tony, I'm going to be recording a new episode of The Book with David Crockett. And next week, Tony, I'm excited for us to get together. In the meantime, by the way, you can support us over at WHW on YouTube.com. That's the easiest, cheapest, best way to do that. Just hit the like, subscribe button, throw us some comments, give us some thumbs up, some thumbs down. Looking for your feedback, WHW on YouTube.com. Also, tons of fun swag and merch available at lowestrules.com. If you're looking to grow your business, well, if you're targeting men, we got them. Check out advertise with WHW.com. We've got men 25 to 54, and we know how to shill, baby. Advertise with WHW.com. But Tony, next week, I'm going to peel the curtain back. I've had a problem going on that I've not addressed with you. Not a problem with you, but somehow, some way, a lunatic has got my phone number.
Okay.
And
change your phone number.
Well, here's that's fun for you to say, but you know, I am in the sales business, and I've had this same phone number since 2001.
Okay.
So I'm not going to be changing my phone number.
Okay.
It's going to be the same phone number.
All right.
But I've had an absolute lunatic call and call and call. So I did what you mastered on Twitter a long time ago. I blocked it. But then I found that my voicemail kept filling up, and I'm like, I don't have any voicemails. How is it saying I'm out of space for voicemails? You're 92% full. I'm like, I have 2 voicemails. Like I'm not 92% full. I found there's a little tab at the bottom for blocked voicemails.
Okay.
I have angry, ranting voicemails piled up, dozens and dozens and dozens, where once I've blocked this fellow, he just started leaving crazy voicemails. Okay. And next week here on the program, I'm going to play a few for you and get your take on it. And I need your little big brother advice on what I should do.
Well, I know what you should do right now.
What's that?
You got friends, right?
Well, I don't know what that means, but I do. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, Brad, right?
Okay. We're recording right now, Tony.
Okay. Go find this guy and beat the fuck out of him.
I don't think violence is the answer, Tony.
Yeah, I do. It'll stop him.
I don't know if that's really a good call. I'm not keen on that idea.
Okay.
There's got to be something else we can do. I think next week what I'm going to do is I'm going to play some of these voicemails for you here on the show.
And it's not. So what do you think it's going to stop? You think by playing the voicemails, beat the fuck out of him, Conrad?
Wow. Don't you think that would involve more paperwork and maybe people getting bracelets and things?
I don't think so. I think when you, no.
Wow. Okay. Because I want to tell you, what you're describing sounds, I don't know, maybe a smidge illegal.
Really?
Yeah.
Is stalking illegal and doing what he's doing illegal?
Yeah, but I don't know, man. Beating somebody up over a voicemail seems kind of.
Yeah.
Well, here's what we'll do.
Okay.
Maybe what we'll do is
find him and beat the fuck out of him. Go ahead.
We'll send Scott Steiner to his address.
That works. Send Ahmad Johnson his address.
Well, yeah, he would get hurt no matter what that way.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay, well, we'll talk about that next week. But Tony, I had such a great time watching old 1997 WWF with you. I'm glad you got to see some of it. In the future, I do want us to have a chance to see some of that evil Vince McMahon character in Memphis. I think you'll really dig that. But right now, Tony, unfortunately, it looks like it's about that time.
And looking under the ring, ladies and gentlemen, Ahmad Johnson is looking for a 2x4. He's got the 2x4. He rolls in the ring. Dave Silva is prone on the mat, and he's hit Dave Silva with a 2x4, and he hits him again. And wait a minute, about 5 Whataburgers have flown out of Dave Silva's ass, and they're laying there on the ring. Silva rolls over. He picks up a Whataburger. Don't do it, Dave. Don't do it. Oh my God, the humanity. Dave Silva has just eaten a Whataburger that recently flew out of his ass. And you never know what you're going to see here on What Happened When, and you never know what's going to happen next week. But we'll see you then, and we'll see you each and every Wednesday on What's What One. Mondays, we'll see you exclusively on
Patreon, patreon.com/WHW Monday. And of course, adfreeshows.com. Hey, it's Conrad Thompson here to tell you a little more about what adfreeshows.com is all about. Get early, ad-free access to more than a dozen of your favorite wrestling podcasts every single week, starting at just $9. That's less than 20 cents an episode each month. And yes, you can listen to them all directly through Apple Podcasts or your regular podcast apps. How easy is that? Ad-free shows also has thousands of hours worth of bonus content and docuseries like Title Chase, Eric Fires Back, Conversations with Conrad, and The Insiders. Plus new series like The Book with David Crockett, Monday Mailbags with Mike Chioda and Nick Patrick, and a whole lot more. And you want to talk about early? You can't get any earlier than listening to the shows live. You can be a part of the live studio audience as we record the podcast. Plus, ride shotgun alongside your favorite childhood heroes for live watch-alongs, Q&As, and other interactive experiences every single month. Come on now, see for yourself what thousands of other wrestling fans from around the world have discovered, that adfreeshows.com is the best value in wrestling. Check it out today, and hey, when you do, the first week is completely free. adfreeshows.com.